guys. Welcome back to another episode of Frequency Friday. Today is all about coming out of the Galactic closet. Happy UFO, World UFO Day. Please make sure that you share this out, tag somebody, give us a thumbs up before we get started. And my name is Jennifer, and I'm really happy to be here. I'm super excited today.
Yes, and I am Christy Oates, and we are part of the production team at Camp Disclosure. It is going to be a super fun show. I'm excited too. We have lots of planned guests and surprise guests, so It's going to be a busy night and super fun. And so thanks for being here. This is our 5th episode, I think. I can't believe it's already 5 episodes for 2 introverts. That's pretty good.
I know. And consistently pat ourselves on the back. We have done 5 shows.
Yeah. So. And good topic tonight, coming out of the Galactic closet. So we haven't talked too much yet about disclosure of extraterrestrial stuff, and tonight we're really excited and honored because we have a lot of experiencers. Well, really, I was thinking about it, and all of us on our Camp D leadership team, I think, are experiencers. So I guess that's no surprise, but I thought it's kind of cool. So we share that in common, and we're going to tell stories tonight. It's going to be fun.
Yes.
Yeah, as you can see, I'm back from location. I wanted to make sure and mention how much fun I had last weekend, because it was all because of Camp Disclosure 2020 that I had a really super great weekend with 3 people that I met at Camp Disclosure I'd never met before. And because of Camp Disclosure last year, we met and we stayed in touch, and now they're on our leadership team. And so we had a lot of fun and just enjoying each other's company. And I was thinking about all the reasons it was fun, but one of them was because we felt safe to talk about stuff that you can't talk about with other people. So we talked about reptilian overlords and slave colonies on Mars, and no one felt weird or was like, what? No one felt like the freak. So that was really fun.
That I will say something about the spring meeting, because one, it was, guys, I don't leave Texas. I don't leave Houston. And I told Christy and everybody that I drove to Georgia to meet these people. And so that was new for me. And also, it was the first time that I was ever in a situation where I could be myself. And that's what it made me feel home. I didn't have to worry about what I was saying or what I looked like. I felt like I was with family right away. And I think that is a very important message that we need to hit home on, because we've been doing a lot of thinking behind the scenes when it comes to Camp Disclosure and letting you guys know, like giving you the information. This is why we're doing these shows, but the experience, it is the experience. We not only bring you these amazing speakers and healers and vendors and ecstatic dance and new things to show you, but that's just the small tip of it. That it's the community, it's the family, it's coming to where you can be yourself. So I really had to say that.
Yes, thank you for saying that, because it's true. I did want to make sure that we do emphasize, and people who've been to conferences like this know, but if you've never been to any kind of disclosure conference, then you might not really fully realize that just as much happens off stage that happens on stage. It's all the between speakers, chit chats and connections and networking. And that's part of the activating. That's part of our mission, which I like to talk about at the beginning, which is activating and supporting Starseed missions. So one way we do that is through connecting, and supporting each other. And that happens a lot, I think, at conferences like this, and certainly at Camp Disclosure, which brings me to another thing, kind of ties into the next thing that I wanted to talk about, which it came up this week, where people were asking, now, what exactly is Camp Disclosure? Is it a retreat or a festival or a conference? And so, we have thought about that. And the truth is, I've said for a while now, we're a hybrid. We're very unique. We're not like any other gathering, because we're kind of all of the above. I mean, when you think about it, we have 2 stages with over 20 leading edge disclosure speakers. I'm just going to give you our little spiel here so you understand like clearly why we say we're all of these things. So that's like a conference. We have 3 nights with 9 different musicians, musical acts. So that's kind of like a music festival. We have meditation, group Qigong. We have high vibe, intentional food diet, vegetarian food plan, if that's what you'd like, and other food options. We have art. So we have all these different things. So we're like a retreat, we're like a conference, and we're like Jennifer was saying, we're like a family reunion because you've heard me say before, we all have that experience when we meet. It's like instant family. So we're a hybrid, unique, one of a kind festival, not to be missed. Well worth the price of admission.
Oh yeah, it is. When I got to looking at it and thinking about it, you know, and that's another thing. It's coming together. We came down here to unite and co-create the new earth. And it's good to do that behind the computers, and you can do that with posting memes and everything like that. But we all are light workers, and we all know the power that happens when our energy fields start to physically connect. So it's investing in you. It's investing in your mission. It's investing in, you know, doing what you came here to do. And I think, I mean, we have so much to offer. It's not just, that's what another thing that sets us different too, you know, because I do a lot of the marketing behind the scenes, and I talk to the guys, and it's like, well, how do we promote this? You know, we've got something for everybody. We can't specifically target, like, you know, wherever you are on your journey, you're going to find something beneficial at Camp Disclosure. So
someone asked me the target age group, and we said, well, it's kind of like from 18 or 15 up to like 85 or 90. It's like every age. And that's actually one of our missions, is to bridge the gap between the ages. And we didn't even mention the nature. That's another huge, huge piece of it that was intentional. And we think very key is the immersion in nature to ground and activate. And, you know, we're even talking now about working together in communion with the land. So that was really important too. Yeah.
I was just going to say that, like, you know, it's out that too, like, you grid workers, you're being called. And when we were there, and you will hear all about it, I'm not going to give away, but we had an experience from an elder Sasquatch there that had messages, and one of the importance was working with the land. And that is another reason why we came, and that is one reason why I took that drive. That's something I would have never have done my entire life, but I did it because my higher guidance told me that I was being called there and to go, and I listened, and I met you guys, I connected with family, and I received my first, you know, experience and message. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think that one of the reasons we all connect so immediately, enjoy being together, is because we do have a shared mission. And I wanted to, you know, I always talk about the mission at the beginning of our meetings, and you guys have all probably heard the mission by now. But one thing I don't say is what the real mission, which I'm going to share with you guys now, behind the scenes, insider. I think you'll agree. I don't know, but I think most of us share this mission. Is my personal mission: liberating humanity from the mental chains of slavery. None but ourselves can free our mind. You know what I'm talking about. So yeah, that's our shared mission. So
my whole coaching program is breaking out of the matrix.
Yes, writing programs. Yeah. The cleanup crew, we call ourselves that a lot, right?
Definitely the cleanup crew. Right. And that's why we have such a wide age group, because again, we're here to help everybody. You know, we're here to create the new earth. So
I just like to give a plug to our last week's episodes, like all of our episodes, really. I've been, you know me, I like to brag on us and brag on each other. And I don't know. I think our speakers have been awesome. I personally have gotten gold nuggets from every single show that we've had. And I even heard the word binge worthy being thrown around today. I'm just going to say that in terms of
Wow,
well,
that's
I was
great.
throwing it around to my mom, but
Plant that seed.
They're all related. I was thinking about them. You know, I'm a thinker. I'm analyzing everything and looking at it. And I was looking at our topics, and I was like, dang, these are all really super related, because we have redefining self-care was one of them, and getting serious about the mission, which doing self-care is getting serious about the mission. Unity in the community is getting serious about the mission. Unity in the community is doing self-care. And getting serious about the mission is doing unity and self-care. They're all related. So I thought, well, anyway, those are our last 3 episodes. Check them out. They're really good.
Definitely. They're all on a playlist on YouTube, guys.
Yeah. Jennifer, did you have any kind of energy updates or anything you wanted to share with us tonight?
So I can tell you what I've been noticing physically. I have not really looked at anything. This week has been kind of chaotic, in case you guys have been experiencing that. I did do a collective reading today. The message that keeps really coming through is, are you hearing the call? Are you hearing the call? The energies are also going to influence that as well, because again, like I said, it's like we're coming in levels. We go in waves. So some people are at a certain stage, and if you're not quite at that stage, it's quite all right. But we are all going through similar things. The difference is just like what you'll learn at Camp Disclosure, tools to put in your toolbox, that when these energies hit like this, you know what to do, so you can navigate through it a little bit easier. July Cancer season has been very interesting. I thought that it was going to be a little bit more emotional. Maybe water signs may be feeling some emotions, but the way that the planetary energies are lining up, it's more productive, so you may be getting some more things done. I definitely felt a shift at the beginning of July. Yesterday, I felt like there was a clearing. Also, the energy is stirring up, and will constantly amp up the closer that we get, because things in the collective are also happening. Stuff is coming to the surface. Truth is hitting. I'm expecting it to get even faster. So just be mindful of that. I'll try to post more updates on Cosmic, what's going on within the group, so you can definitely check that out. But I haven't checked what's the planetary energies are doing, but I am very self-in-tuned. That is why I got into astrology, is because I'm constantly checking in with myself and paying attention to what my body is saying, which, guys, you can too, because you are made of star stuff. So what's going on upstairs, as above, so below. So as within, as without.
Well, and one more thing before we do the raffle, the drawing, because I want to do that and then get to the speakers. But I do want to give a huge shout out to you, Jennifer. Congratulations. You have really answered the call, and I know you had a really huge, big win today. If you guys don't follow Jennifer, she's putting out videos all day, and she put out a couple of great ones today. And one was her big announcement. She's been published. She's overcome her. You want to share with how you've overcome your writing, and you've been published in some magazines?
Absolutely, because it is a major accomplishment. I'll just give you a little backstory, guys. I struggled majorly in school, especially when it came to grammar and writing. My mom had me hooked on phonics. I don't know if y'all remember that. And that's all because English is not my first language. My soul doesn't speak that, so I never really understood it. And even my last job, it was one of the things that I got in trouble for, because I put together the newsletter and everything. And even though I had people proofread stuff, there would be grammar errors or whatever. So I've been told my whole life about my spelling, my grammar, and things not coming out the way that it needs to. So I have been I started about a year ago. I'm really big into affirmations. I listen to them with a certain meditation, synctuition, and I say affirmations. I kept saying that I am a writer. I am a writer, a whole list, and I wrote my first article, and a couple of them got posted on some blogs, but I got my first one published in a magazine. So it was, yeah, like that was not, and I don't have just one article in there. I have two articles. So I have one that's like a regular article, and then I have another one about self-care. So it has like some bath recipes. But yeah, so my next thing is going to be writing my book. So that will be coming out in the next couple of years. But the point is that is the one thing that I never thought that I would do. It was not even on my list, but I am very serious about the mission, as y'all know, and I promote my business, and you have to write. And if you guys if you're an entrepreneur, you know what the writing entails: websites, pages, landing, explanations, what services, all that other stuff. I had to. So I have been relearning. Like, I watch YouTube videos. There's so many educational videos on grammar and how to write, and apparently there's a need for it because they get millions of views. I'm not the only one. So that was a boost of self-confidence that I'm not the only one struggling with that. So
congratulations. I mean, it's huge. It's what we're all about, supporting and Starseed missions and answering the call and getting serious about the mission like you're living it, and you're a role model. And thank you for that. And congratulations. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So let's do the drawing real fast.
Okay.
So I have to announce the winners from last week's drawing. As you may recall, I was on location and did not have these guys, which are the grand prize winner, bucket weekly winner. All right, so I had to do the drawing from home, which I did. I want to announce the three winners. We gave away Christina Lee Dobbs Organite pendant to Quantum Light Practice. I don't know who that is, but that's the name that the ticket was under. So congratulations. You will be able to pick that up at the winners table at camp.
I wish I could do confetti on the screen.
We need to, by the end of the last season, we'll have all the special effects and everything.
Oh, just wait.
We also gave away another piece by Christina Lee Dobbs, the Organite Tower Buster, and that went to Christina Lawson. Congratulations. Thank you for getting your ticket early. And then the big prize last week was the Ormus bottle, $144 worth, a big giant bottle of Ormus from Pyramana. Always got to make sure I say that right. Sometimes I get it twisted up. Pyramana from Tyler Dwight and Amber Jean Wheeler Dwight. Thank you for that donation. And that went to David Stevanoha. Congratulations. And thank you for buying your ticket early. So you are still, all three of you are still entered for the grand prize drawing, which, big announcement, we were going to do the big grand prize drawings tonight, but we had too many. Our speakers and providers and healers and vendors, they're all so generous. We have such a long list of prizes and we didn't really have enough time to advertise what we're doing, this early bird ticket holder drawing. So we want to give more time for the people to get the word out, for them to get their plans, get their tickets. So we have extended it for the next 4 weeks. We're going to be doing drawings every week, big prizes like tonight, and then the really, really big prizes on July 30th, which is our music scene show, which is going to be a super fun show. So all you have to do is buy your ticket between now and July 30th to get automatically entered to win. That's 4 weeks. The sooner you buy your ticket, the more chances you have to win, because we're doing drawings every week. So this week, I'm going to draw tickets from our weekly winners. I'm not good at this. Okay, so I'm going to draw 3 winners. We're going to give away our one Creative Meditation Movement CD from Juliet Easton, and that's a $12.99 value. One Child of Light Dream Whispers CDs. Actually, before I draw the names, we want to bring those folks on, don't we, Jennifer? We're gonna bring Juliet on to talk about her CDs and the other things she's giving away. And Scott, I don't know if he's here, and I don't know if I'm frozen because Jennifer's frozen. Yikes. So I could go on. Hey.
We're okay. We're back.
Yay. I don't know when or where I lost you.
I don't either. I was like, oh no, did it freeze again? And for some reason, Facebook won't let me pull this up on my phone. It keeps telling me I have to go to the app. So guys, if you guys can comment and just give us a heads up, thumbs up, can you see us? Please?
Well, we're back on. We're definitely back live.
Okay.
Was Juliet going to come on? Is she in the waiting room?
So I have, I've got Juliet in the waiting room. Definitely.
So we're going to give away 2 of Juliet's CDs, and we wanted to bring her on. Hi, Juliet.
Hi, Juliet.
How are y'all?
Awesome. How are you?
Great. So
we're just,
Oh, go ahead.
We were just about to do our big drawing, and I was telling them we were about to draw for your CDs, but I wanted to, I would like to hear from you exactly what these are and the other prizes that you're donating for down the road. We're going to do drawings every week starting now.
So this is a picture of the CD. I don't know if it's going to show up. Is it?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So that's my son on the cover when he was almost 3. He's 25 now.
Wow.
So I made this CD back in '97. I never really marketed it, but it's got soothing music to help kids go to sleep, and a lot of adults use it for meditation too. And then it has positive whispered affirmations on the second track. So it's the same music on both tracks, and it's in a key that's conducive to sleep. And I created it because my kids had a hard time going to sleep when they were little. Lullabies, 3-4 minute lullaby, and then it changes to a different song and they would wake up. So this is continuous music for 30 minutes straight on each track. So it doesn't wake people up. So even for adults, if you're trying to go to sleep, but it's also great for meditation. I've got lots of testimonials from teachers and parents. The teachers at a Montessori school where my kids went, they used it when they were little. And then also from Joe Vitale, who was in The Secret. He gave me a great testimonial for it too. So I've got all that. I'm redoing the website with my business partners right now. So we'll have the site up. So that'll be live later. But yeah, it's really good for, the reason affirmations are there is because, kids get so many negative messages during the day that from everywhere, from ads, from society, from kids and all this. And so I wanted them to be able to work like a subliminal CD and help reprogram their brain while they're sleeping, but not have it be subliminal. Because as a parent, there's no way I would play something subliminal for my kids. I'd want to know what the words are. So they're super quiet. So you can hear them with headphones, or if you're in a really quiet room, without any background noise. So they're there. So yeah, that's what that is. And then the other thing I'm going to be giving away, 2 more things. The one I think you guys are doing tonight is a one-on-one creative movement meditation session. And that's something that has a $200 value. And what I'm going to be doing for that is it's going to be very individualized. I'm going to send a list of questions to the person ahead of time to find out what their background is with meditation, with movement, all this kind of stuff. So I can do a highly individualized session for them that's going to take them from wherever they're at right now to the next level. So at Camp Disclosure, my session, I'm going to focus on helping people get grounded and dealing with heart expansion and connected to their mission and really committed to their life mission and why they're here. And that's the main thing I'm going to focus on. So I only have 30 minutes and I want to make sure I can have the most impact possible on everybody there and helping them be able to do what they're here to do. So I'm going to do techniques for that. So for the one-on-one session, it could vary what I'm doing with a person, just really based on what their needs are and where they're at. Somebody who's just beginning with meditation and doesn't even know what circular breathing is, it's going to be very different than somebody who knows how to activate all their chakras, So I want to make sure I do it as an individualized way. So
that's so generous and awesome. I know whoever wins that is going to have huge benefit, because I think on our first show when you were on, I told the story about how when we first met and how just talking with you for a few minutes about what you would do on stage made me feel even better. And you've led some things for our meetings. And so thank you for being on tonight and sharing what you do and what you're offering. We're actually going to give away that individual session down the road in a few weeks. So we're going to give people more time to enter for that big prize. We're going to give away one of the CDs, the creative meditation movement CDs and one of the Dream Whisper CDs you just described. And
Well, I only have one CD. It's just the Dream Whisper CD.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Oh, I see. Okay.
There's 5 of them. I'm donating 5.
I see.
Yeah.
So, okay. So then it'll just be the one then.
Yeah.
And then what we'll do is every week we'll give away one. That's what we'll do. Every week we'll give away one of those Dream Whisper CDs. That's awesome.
That's awesome. And the other thing I'm giving away too that you guys will be doing down the line is I have a clothing line, Ninja Artwear. So I'm going to be doing a custom design for somebody. So what I'll do is I'll have a call with them, and we'll talk about like what their favorite colors are, what things they really like, what kind of ideas they have, and we'll brainstorm and come up with something. And then I'll go off and create the design for them, and nobody else will ever be able to buy that design ever.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's so cool. You just do everything, a little bit of this and that. I love it.
Yeah, she's awesome, and definitely the her clothing design. Yes, y'all have to check that out because she's got some really cool stuff on there. So we have talked because I have a clothing line as well. So, but I love.
We're going to be doing one together. Jennifer and I need to talk about that soon.
So you'll be there. You'll be at camp as a vendor as well. So you'll have your CDs for sale there, and some clothing for sale, and different things. Awesome.
Yeah.
But do you want to hang out while I draw the winner?
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. So this is for the Child of Light Dream Whisper CD, $12.99 from Julia Easton. Thank you. And the winner is the CD goes to Amanda. I'm not going to say your last name right. Probably Amanda Bond. So. Congratulations. You will be able to pick your CD up at the winner's table. And we do have one other big prize to give away. This is healing session. We didn't get to talk about it much, but Scott Passian will come on and talk about it because he's giving 4 of these away. So we'll be giving one of these quantum healing sessions. He uses Vogel crystals for this. And this is a $150 healing session, which you'll be able to receive while you're at camp. And go check out Scott. So we're giving one of these away tonight to the lucky winner, who is going to be Miss Linda Price. So thank you guys. Congratulations. Thank you for buying your tickets early. Thank you for planning on buying your tickets soon and getting your tickets soon and being here with us tonight. Just a little quick, all of the things we're going to give away are listed in the Facebook group, but we have jewelry, $100 turquoise necklace, $100 organite pyramid. We have healing sessions. Jennifer, the Empire Hoyoka sitting next to me is giving away a healing session. Matthew Mornian, $444 bottle of pyramid powder. Eric from Pyramana Ormus. And Eric Rains is giving away a $1,000 Metamorphosis package. And those big things will be given away July 30th so that everyone has a chance to enter. All you have to do is buy a ticket and you're automatically entered. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you, Juliet, for being here. I appreciate you. I can't wait to see you in person again.
Yeah, I'm excited. And the one-on-one session for creative meditation, if the person wants to do it at camp, we can do it at camp. If they want to, if they want to do it later on Zoom, we can do it on Zoom. Whichever way works for them is fine.
Awesome.
Yeah, perfect.
Yes, thank you.
All right.
So I think Jennifer, you have something planned for a little break for us?
Yes, I do. So before we bring on our guests tonight, we're going to show y'all a little clip that we personally did. So just stay tuned and we will be right back.
Ground, connect, activate. It's time. Our Starseed soul family is gathering in the sacred Blue Ridge Mountains to dance, play, meditate, create, learn, heal, and upgrade. Camp Disclosure 2021 Experience the Human Upgrade, a 4-day soul activating experience featuring leading edge speakers, inspiring art, uplifting music, delicious food, ecstatic dance, and a contagious high vibe, aimed at pushing the dialogue, shifting the paradigm, and forging a path to the new earth, where the extraordinary is not only honored, but celebrated. Find us online at campdisclosure.com for event and live stream tickets.
All right, guys, welcome back to the show. So we have Barry Littleton on with us today. Barry is going to be leading on our main stage. We have Jessica Jones. She is also going to be leading on the second stage. We have Adrigon and Aranyani with us today, who is Wendy Owen. She's also one of our co-producers on the production team. And we have a surprise popping guest, Buckaroo Lennox. So welcome, guys, to the round table on everything cosmic today.
Coming out of the Galactic closet. So earlier on the show, I was saying how fun it is to hang out with Camp Disclosure folks, because you don't have to be nervous or afraid of talking about anything, So before we get started, I always like to hear from you guys and give you guys a chance to kind of tell us a little bit about, who you are and what you're going to be talking about at camp, or what your background is and what draws you to camp. So especially with our speakers, I thought maybe Barry, we know a lot about you. You have a big YouTube channel, a big following, but some of us are still getting to know you. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your background?
Have me start it off, huh?
Yeah.
Thank you for having me on. Yeah. I basically talk about, I'm a lifetime contactee. I was also born with, as so many of us, with fragmented past life memories. Very early age, it started for me. And I talk about that quite a bit. And then what happened, what I call those childhood experiences, but then they advanced to adult onset experiences. But I started getting a little bit older. They picked up a little bit. And most of them were physical. Those are the ones I talk about because they're the ones that were the most tangible for me. So I kind of go through that a little bit, and I also will be talking to people throughout the whole conference. That's kind of what I like going for. I also do hypnosis and as well as personal sessions. So get to know people like that as well. Anything I can do to help, and I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be nice, and I appreciate all the effort that's being put into this conference. I'm really noticing it, and I think it's going to be a beautiful outcome.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I didn't realize you did hypnosis as well. That's interesting. Cool to know.
Thanks.
Yeah. And maybe Jessica, why don't you, I'm just going to call y'all in different order. So if that's okay, just to keep the flow going, tell us a little bit about what you're doing and what's been going on with you. I saw you did a great video earlier today, pulling Oracle cards. I love that. Oracle of the South, right?
Yeah, that's kind of something new for me. I'm actually just got into doing the tarot this past year, but I'm a mom from Georgia. Okay, I am a paranormal researcher. I spend a lot of time in the woods researching, particularly Bigfoot, of all things. So I'm trained in remote viewing, and that's actually my favorite thing to do in the whole world, actually, is to help find missing people and do blind targets and things like that, because it's kind of a challenge for me, and I love that. But yeah, I'm formerly was an executive director of a state commission for women, and I did almost 20 years at that job. So you can understand that I didn't come out of the closet myself as a Bigfoot researcher or anything while I was at that job, but I've been a stay-at-home mom for the past 7 years, and I have a small business where I sell vintage jewelry. So that's what I do now, but I do the tarot readings and whatnot, and that's just fun. I started my YouTube channel this week, as a matter of fact, and so that was scary, but it's so much fun. And you guys have been such an inspiration to me. And I just am so excited to be a part of this group.
Welcome.
Yes. Thank you for being here. And I wanted to make sure and mention that you have donated a beautiful turquoise necklace for our giveaway, and we're saving that till the end as well. There's pictures of that on our Facebook group.
I have to stay out of her shop for the moment because you're going to have a booth, and I'm waiting to see what you bring. But I've checked your shop out, and I'm like, oh, I want that, and I want that, and
Oh yeah,
beautiful, beautiful jewelry.
I'll bring it all. Yeah, looking forward to it.
And so let's see. Let me introduce Adrigon and Aranyani. Man, I am so grateful to be connected with you guys. These guys just happen to move about 8 minutes down the road from me. And so I'm so happy. They've turned out to be such great friends. We met through Camp Disclosure, and really everybody on this panel. I haven't had much time with Barry, a little bit with Jessica, but certainly Buckaroo and Jennifer and Adrigon and Aranyani. You guys have been such good friends, and I'm so happy to be connected with you and that you're here. Tell us a little bit about what you do and how you're connected with camp.
Well, we're grateful to be here, sister, and we could tell everybody's working so hard. Our mission and vision has just been, since we have been together and even before, is about raising the vibration and awareness and consciousness on the planet through the alchemy of dance and sound and movement and stillness. And we feel that the planet is awakening, and we stay busy lately. Both of us are going to be coming out of the galactic closet. I love that you use that, because that's what all this is about, is coming out of the galactic closet and just, being authentic. And oftentimes we get shut down, but it is time to rise up in our authenticity. And that's what we're here to represent. Personally, being from the South, a lot of things are kept hush hush. You don't talk about things, but I have been working with being very broad and proclaiming that, yes, we are here. We are aware of our higher selves, but we are very much into the grounded aspect of the 3D planet as we are moving forward consciously as a 5D vibration in a 5G world. So it's all about the groundedness into the higher self. And I am a grandmother, the grandmother of frequency. I'll be on the grandmother panel, and we're booking the music together. And we're going to be coming out further just to bring practical applications into day-to-day life about how you can just stay in your heart and just stay in sacred space no matter where you go.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
I'm so grateful you're connected with us, and I know you're bringing a piece that we were missing last year, and that's the music piece. We're going to have a whole show on that. So did you want to say anything, Adrigon?
Well, in terms of what we're going to be doing at camp, we're going to be sharing a bit on how to access the quantum holographic computer and sort of how to dial in with all forms of life, the environment around you, the environment on the inside of the body, the cells, how to dial into the physical body, the organs, how is everything doing, the energetic body, the chakras, what's open, what's blocked, how to clear that, how to cleanse that, how to cleanse every level of the body and how to protect it, along with sort of a system for tracking one's progress on the spiritual journey, and even dialing into opening up the different energy centers so that one can access other abilities, or more than human, superhuman, as some would say, even abilities like the cities, as some say. And going over a few other things like how to access altered states of consciousness through the breath and different techniques of ancient origin, among many other fun things. Yeah.
I'm just very blessed that we found each other again in this lifetime. And so we're going to be sharing a little bit about our journey, and we're just like I said, we just feel star family all around us here. So
nice. And Buckaroo, you and me are the two veteran volunteers from last year on this panel. So we're the wise ones with the experience from last year. I'm honored that you're here with us tonight. I appreciate you being here. And you have an interesting story and lifestyle and life. You're a writer, and you're you're in charge of our AV team. We're working at least closely with Chris on the live stream and Sherman on the AV thing. And I appreciate that so much, because I would be totally lost without you guys. So tell us a little bit about you and what you're up to.
Well, yeah, I'm here going to be helping at Camp D this year with the AV, which I helped with last year. But, I go to a lot of these ufology-based spiritual type conferences. And this has by far been my favorite I've ever gone to. And it's the group of people, and it's the whole family vibe I get. And so I like hook up with you guys all around the country, because I travel a lot, and I just like to be around you guys, and whatever I could do to preserve that feeling like we had last year, it's like almost necessary now. But I'm here because I didn't really quite understand how this program thing worked, but I popped in because I got the invite, and I just wanted to participate here and introduce myself, I suppose. I live in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. This is the Ozarks behind me. So, yeah.
Well, we're going to be talking about coming out of the galactic closet. What does that mean? Is it important? What are tips and techniques? Because like I was saying before, it's fairly easy in this crowd to say, hey, I remember my past lives on other planets, and hey, I went in and I just met with my ET guides. But out in other communities or crowds, it doesn't feel as comfortable. And so is it, it's good to talk about, is it important that we start to normalize these things for people? And I just want to hear kind of your experiences, maybe profound messages, or I don't know, just thoughts on coming out of the closet, telling your story about contact.
Who are you?
You want to kick it off, Barry?
Take it, Barry. Take it.
I'll tell you what. Well, a couple of things. I keep picking up after I spoke. They're like, you didn't say enough. They're telling me that. So one thing else I'll focus on is I had a near-death experience. In 2010, I was in a horrible car accident, and I died on the way to the hospital, and I sustained 4 catastrophic traumatic brain injuries.
Wow.
And they said I'd be a lifetime vegetable. That's not the case, but I'll tell you, I had a very definite near-death experience. And I had to compare that to my extraterrestrial encounters from childhood up, and the beings that I actually saw when I had passed, including family members. I had studied the death process quite a bit, and NDE and all those things, but when it happens to you, it's a whole different thing. And it's interesting how much it correlates right now. The new studies are showing, like by Ray Hernandez and what was former free CCRI, the modalities of contact. They're examining a lot how frequent near-death experience and lifetime contactees go together. They're not the separate things that we would think they are. So that's one thing I'll focus on also in dealing with some of these things there. So I like that. By the way, you mentioned quantum holographic. I like that. Very good. Very good. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's something I think. So for me personally, when I quote unquote came out of the closet, I was one of those people that was born awake, like a lot of people are, very much. I didn't just walk into it in 2012 or when I was 12, or it was always that way kind of. And I think that as stepping forward, what it's done is my goal was to try to unite the scientific community with the experiencer community, and trying to get, for me, science was a good foundation for what I was experiencing that is beyond comprehension, some of it. So that's something there, just to think about. And I think we can all help each other, because some of us have contact that, I'm sorry, it isn't the Pleiadians, it isn't the Syrians, the Arcturians. We've got billions of galaxies out there, and you've got a lot of these contacts that are extra galactic, or in my case, I had to deal with other universes. I didn't want to admit that, but I recently had spent months talking to this gentleman, Dr. Rudy Shields. Really respected his work, and he took notice of some of my experiences, and he's one of the few quantum physicists and astrophysicists that have come forward and talked to me. But he started showing me computations. He said, you're dealing with beings from other universes. I tried to, no, it's just other galaxies. He smashed that. So and he came from a perspective that is not contactee, not experiencer. It's strictly science researcher from the observatories. So so I learned more about black holes and some of these black holes I'm seeing on board these craft. I'll talk about a lot of that stuff. So.
Wow. It sounds like you've had a lot of experience. Yeah, I'm interested to hear those stories for sure.
Well, it's cool. I'll shut up. But I mean, it brings things like this around, and the conferences. What I know this is going to be like too is it's really cool to get to meet the people. Everybody. I look intelligent in cyberspace, but I may be a real dud in person. You know what I mean? But it's fun. It's fun. It's fun to meet people and really open up. And I think we'll talk about kind of the elder thing later. And it's very fascinating. So I thank you all, and I'll shut my mouth.
Oh, it is fascinating. No, we're happy to hear all of that. Thank you for sharing all of that. Did anyone else want to tag on, continue on with that thread or have thoughts?
Yeah, well, I'll talk about, I've been spending a lot of time in the woods, and not only are we having contact with Bigfoots, but we're finding that there's always aliens nearby. There's always some sort of ET UFO phenomena in the area when we have Bigfoot contact. So, it's with all of the government disclosure that's coming out right now with the breadcrumbs they're giving everybody, it's a little bit easier now to talk about it. And I've actually had people call me and apologize for not believing me in the past about all the stuff that I've experienced. And when people would ask me about what happens in the woods, I mean, what happens in the woods stays in the woods is what I used to say, because people just don't understand, and it was really, it could be quite embarrassing telling stories about things that really happened to you and nobody believed you. So I've always kept quiet. I've always said, hey, if you want to know, you get a tent and you get some camping gear and you go out in those woods and you see for yourself, because I'm kind of a hands-on, boots to the ground kind of woman. I like to get out and experience things on my own. And I create my own reality. I live my own reality. And I want to experience everything there is in this life. And I guess that's part of my mission, actually, is just to experience everything. And now it's time for me to start sharing my experiences with people.
Absolutely. I think normalizing it is really important, and just not telling stories. I think the more that we normalize it, I think that opens it up and allows more people to believe it's possible. And so if they believe it's possible and it's not so scary, then they're more likely to see it. So it's kind of that 100th monkey effect, that it'll just continue and continue. And then maybe the younger generations, it won't even be a conversation. It'll be like, yeah, so the ET friends at school today, or whatever.
Right. And, and I have a son who's 7. So it's almost like he's been inoculated since he was a kid to all this strangeness, because, I grew up having experiences, and it's, I saw dead people when I was a kid, and I'm sure my son does too at this point. But I think it's important that we, the children are exposed to this in a good way. Like, I'm a remote viewer, and I think that another part of my mission here is perhaps to teach children remote viewing. The more switched on humans that we have, the better. Imagine what kind of world this will be if everyone is introduced to what their spiritual gifts are. If everyone is switched on, and there's the telepathy and just being able to have your psychic abilities, just to be in tune. Imagine that kind of world.
It's interesting you say that, because I've been picking up constantly what's going on with you and the mind speak with the Sasquatch. You get that a lot, don't you?
Well, we do. We're also remote viewers, and everyone on my team is extremely switched on. And we've all been a team together for over 10 years now, some of them longer. Okay, so Bigfoots they use telepathy. Just like ETs. I think everyone but us uses telepathy, okay, in this universe.
Well, that's why I'm going to say that. That's why I struggled with writing, and I do, because I'm telepathic. So when I had my experience, the Sasquatch experience, he spoke to me telepathically, and it was like, oh, okay, like, oh my God, someone's finally talking to me kind of thing, or can understand. So I completely agree with that and can see that. And I just want to say this, and I'll shut up. Kudos to you for doing that for the kids, because that is a big message that I keep getting. And that is, so I'm redoing my coaching program, and that is to help adults get in that position so that we can start helping the younger generation, because it is not just about us. We are here, we're road construction. We are, getting that road ready, and we're laying that foundation. They're the ones that are going to make this lasting change. So
Yes.
yeah, thank you for doing that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, man. Wonderful. That's so beautiful. I give you both thumbs up. That's what happened to me when I was a kid. I got assaulted by a disincarnate person. And, we have these people that live kind of such bad behavior patterns. When they transition, they become something worse. And it's a thing that when they see you and they know you can see, they jump you. They jump kids especially.
Yes.
And that happened to me, and then it makes me just, I don't want to deal with that gift anymore. I want to shut it off. You know what I mean? So I commend you both. That's wonderful, honestly.
Thank you. It's so necessary, because I had so many gifts when I was younger that I experienced different things, and they got shut off, or it was traumatizing. And I have a really good friend who's a medium that is helping her kids, and I mean, they prey on, children are wide open, and entities, especially ones that are not genuine in heart, they prey on that, and it can get the boogeyman and all that other stuff does kind of exist. And when you come into this world and you are full blasted on, it's like, okay, let's kind of help you learn how to use those skills, so that, it's beneficial for the rest of your life. My psychic gifts help guide me through my life today. If I would have been able to keep this and utilize it when I was younger, or learn how to, we'd probably be in a different state.
Keep it going. Let's hear about the Sasquatch. Come on. You said something happened. Let's hear it.
We could talk about Sasquatch all day, guys.
Okay.
Forever. You guys, I'll give you an earful. What would you like to know?
So when I was
it's all crazy how it's all so connected. Everything is so connected. And, like I was saying, I've always been in tune with the spirit world. And when I was younger, my brother passed away when I was in my early 20s in a car accident. And he came to me immediately within the week and sat down and kissed my forehead. And, and I've had, I've seen spirits, and they communicate with me telepathically when I see them. Okay. So I remember the first time I saw that, I was like, what? Why? I can hear them talking, but their mouths aren't moving, and they look like real people. And it was just confusing to me when the first time I experienced that. But now I understand it. Talking about the kid aspect. Now, if you guys are wondering, I've never taken my son to the woods. So he's not to the woods on one of my Bigfoot expeditions and things like that. Because if you guys have read the David Paulides series of Missing 411, you probably wouldn't take your kids out where I go Bigfooting. So it's a little bit scary, but it is important. I actually teach my son, little by little, I teach him like ideograms and things like that for a coordinate remote viewing, just for fun, like drawing little pictures of, little shapes and things that we actually utilize in the remote viewing field. So he's been learning that stuff for the past at least a year now. And so you got to make it kind of fun. And, I've never taught a kid remote viewing before. I just learned it myself about, over the past 10 years. But it's something that I think it's important that we should actually start doing for the children, because I think that the generations of kids that are coming in now are going to be way more switched on than even we are.
They are.
Grandmother, I'm totally in resonance with that. I see it all the time, especially being in Asheville. There are a lot of star children coming in. They're born in knowing. We have so many Starseed, even, really defining your personal intuitive abilities, intuition processes that we've been involved with. Even Art of Living has one of the biggest in the world for using your intuition. Adrigon, do you want to talk a little bit about?
Yeah, it's so important to set up a a network or a platform or a system for young intuitive starseeds, and really for all children of all ages who have spiritual experiences or having this open up or that open up or this attack or that, and to allow them, again, like this way where they can get connected and plugged in with the right mentor, the right teachings, the right one,
Mm-hmm.
help them understand this is what's going on. And no, you don't have to be afraid of it. You don't need to shut it off. Actually, you just need to learn how to utilize it. But anyway, we have a mentor and a teacher who has one of the largest programs for teaching kids these things. He's got a program, so almost 100,000 kids now, where they've taught them how to see with their mind's eye and how to read books with blindfolds on, even part ways across the world, and how to see essentially remote view, and how to do telepathy, how to talk with each other. And the CIA recently released the science on that. It's just photon transmission. Light photons from our brains that are created from our neurons are just passed on. But anyway, essentially, they also learn how to precognize events. So now the parents of these children are asking them what's going to happen. They're asking them for advice. What do you think is going to happen? What should I do? And they're listening to their children now. It's a much more balanced relationship. These kids are absolutely incredible.
Typically, it's the other way around, you know, and as a child, I was shut down. I knew I had a gifted disability, even as a child. I understood it as a disability because I had synesthesia, and I also had the gift of sight. And trying to explain that in a home that did not understand was really challenging.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually shut down my own abilities to be able to travel and to be able to communicate to other dimensional beings. And it started when I was 4. And Christy knows the story. I had purple hands come through the wall, and they were electric purple hands, and there would be hundreds of them all over the bedroom coming through the night of just shaking my hand. And I can remember being on a 4-poster bed, standing up and shaking their hands, and I would call them my handshaker friends, and they would give me lights. And so it was a very beautiful thing, and I was not afraid. I was actually like excited about it. So my whole thing was, Grandma, they came again. And she was like, what are you talking about? My handshaker friends, they came and saw me again last night. And after so many times of explaining the excitement of a child, because children have so much excitement, that eventually, you know, my parental units got tired of hearing about my handshaker friends and told me to go run along and play. I had an active imagination, and I was seeing things. And so that kind of was a game changer, because I remember one night I looked at the wall, they were all coming out, and they were very like loving beings. And I looked at the wall and I said, I can't see you anymore. I have an active imagination. And that was it. And, you know, what we want to do is, as a grandmother, I also want to just give children the permission to have these experiences, you know, because these are important. And, you know, we used to see in so much of a larger spectrum, but because we live in a 5G world, you know, and 5D consciousness, a lot of, you know, you have to be able to open up these children more to be able to share and feel safe.
And trust their intuition, not question it.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
I want to get Buckaroo in here. What are your thoughts, Buckaroo? Have you had any experiences, or I know you have a daughter, and I'm wondering if you can relate, if you've noticed anything with her in terms of starseed characteristics.
Oh yeah, sure. And as a child, see, a lot of the stuff you guys are talking about, I relate to. It's not something I talk about a lot, just because I guess I learned not to at a certain point. But I'm totally okay with it. You know, it makes other people uncomfortable if I'm in the wrong crowd. So I've learned to filter that. But as a kid, I was 12 and I saw an orb come in my room, and it spoke to me with telepathy, and that changes things. You can't go back. I mean, and I had it confirmed what it was because it was a dead relative that had died. And I went out and looked at the clock, and I had asked parents about it, and they were like, how did you know that? You know? And so you have enough that, like, outer body experience, near death experience, you know, you just can't go back. They're like one-way doors. And so what those things left me with were more of a curiosity than anything. And this is the community I went to have those conversations and all of that. But I talk about it freely for anybody, with anyone who wants to go there, and like at the shows I do. I'm in a really strange little town in here in Eureka Springs, and they call us freaking Eurekans. It's okay. It's okay here too, but I get it. We want to normalize it, and with the information that is coming out, and I think it's starting to crack into everyone's consciousness that there is this other ET existence. I think that, well, actually, I've had several friends come to me because they knew that. They're like, hey, you're not going to believe it, but I believe you now. So let's talk.
Yes.
So, yeah, no.
Well, why do you guys think it's important that we have, do you think it's important that we seek to, for folks like me, I haven't had that much direct waking experience. Is it important for us to seek out experience, for us to work to raise our vibration and thin the veil and do the breathing technique so that we can get contact? Is that an important goal for humanity or for folks like me? And if so, why?
It's for planetary consciousness ascension. And so as one more little flame, as many of our burning supernovas. So that's what's shifting right now is, I even said during coronavirus, 18% of the population has had an awakening of some sort. And when you're talking about something like the Maharishi effect, it's 1% of the planet. And, if you think about the math behind that, then, you shift the consciousness on a huge level. And they have proven with science through the ions experiment, the Princeton egg experiment, what happens with consciousness expansion with a group of people. And so when you're talking about millions of people meditating, there is a measurement, a significant subtle energy measurement that is actually shown in these massive meditations and these processes. And yes, I mean, like Tesla says, if you understand frequency and vibration, you can unlock the codes to the universe and universe. And so, we're all one. And so that's how we're going to shift things, I believe, from more dark and more, negative into positive energy. But, a lot of people believe there's not a positive or negative side, that there's just neutrality. But still, we know what to stay away from. And we know things we don't want to entertain or entertrain, like entrainment. And so, most people in my circle I know want to be in a higher vibration of happiness, at least, or bliss. And so I believe we can obtain these states of consciousness and mass meditations, and we're going to see that more and more fluently. And we're seeing it.
Yeah, and in our personal work, as they say, seek and you shall find, ask and you shall receive. And it's by opening up these energy centers of the body and balancing and detoxifying the physical body, the emotional body, the mental body, the etheric body, the spiritual body, that one then, and learning how to access these altered states of consciousness, that one then allows the expansion to access these different realms and to access multidimensional reality, where we're in this body, embodied, but we're also have one foot in the other realms, and where we're able to contact these beings and our higher self and these galactic federations, these different planets, wherever in the universe. It's there. We can be there by accessing these things, and it's also all within us. Everything on the outside of us is within us.
Yeah, I think it's important that you say that, because I thought about that, after I had my experience, and the week after I was processing everything, and one of the things that threw me off was that I was calm. Like, and even after it happened, I was extremely calm. Like, oh, okay, I saw what I saw. And the old me would have been like, oh my God, you don't believe what I just saw, but I wasn't like that.
What are you talking about?
Okay, let me fill you in. My experience. So on the spring meeting, we, me and another lady that is a volunteer, a team leader at Camp Robbie, we're sitting outside on the beach house, like patio. And it was dark, and I was sitting in a chair, and there was an empty chair across from me. And I literally saw a big furry being, like, like phase in and then phase out. So, but he was white and he was big. And it was like he was giving me a download. But I was calm. Like I felt a calmness come over me. And then after it, Robbie's the medium. I have not opened up that gift. And I was like, did you just see that? And she's like, that's just the light, Jennifer, in the trees. And I said, no, that it's not there anymore, but it was there. It phased in and phased out. And she's like, you saw that too? And she described it to a T. So I was like, okay, I saw a Sasquatch. Like it threw me because I didn't expect him to like phase in and phase out. Like he like cloaked or what, or, it was kind of weird. So it took me a moment to process it, but I will say this. I have been working really hard on getting my temple and, meditating and connecting and opening my channels, that prior to the trip there, Sasquatch kept popping up for me, even to where I visited a small town here in Texas to go meet a shop. It was in Brenham, Texas. They had a shop with a shaman, and I drove an hour and a half there to just meet this guy for him to give me the book, Sasquatch Message for Humanity. So I didn't read the book prior to going on to the spring meeting. And then I had that experience and I picked up the book and it was the same message. They're there to connect. That's why I feel like everybody is being called to kind of Camp Disclosure, because they have a connection with us as well. And from what it was, the message that I got was kind of like a download, and that's how I receive it. It's like an unzipped file, so I get so much information I have to sort through it. The message that they were getting me is that they're coming out of the Galactic closet as well. So I know Jessica sent me a message this week that she's getting, they're showing themselves more. They're being noticed, because they're also here too to help humanity as well. But processing that experience, I thought to myself that the reason I probably got the message or I was called was because I have been opening up those channels. I have been working on, finding that balance and checking in with myself and becoming from heart-centered. And from what I know and what I've read, that's when you have that open channel, they're more open to communicate with you. So doing your work, meditation, vibration, eating right, exercising, all the things that you know what to do plays a huge part when you are opening up to connect with these higher beings, because they're coming in. And I do CE5 events, Skywatch events. So, I do a lot of those meditations and connecting them and calling them in as well. And I was doing some prior to going to the spring meeting, but we didn't see any activity like that. Some of us personally experienced Sasquatch interaction, and Christy also got messages too that when she was around the area. And I am pretty sure, Barry, I saw your interview on Journey to the Truth. And it was a similar message from when you went to Lake Usetti. I feel like when you get to Camp Disclosure this year too, you're probably going to be having some messages come too.
I knew there was going to be Sasquatch activity there. I don't know where that is in Georgia, but I knew it. And I went to I spoke in New Orleans just before COVID. Well, quite a bit before that. Had some type of a skunk ape activity there. And, I will say the same thing. The first time, SETI in 2016 was the first time I went and spoke at one of these conferences. And I was apprehensive, to say the least, for several reasons to go. But I started getting bombarded about a week and a half before albino Sasquatch. Albinos over and over again. I was looking at Thinker Thunker. I was looking at MK Davis. I was on it all. You know what I mean? And it didn't make sense at first. And then I didn't recognize that as telepathy and telethought transmission as I've received it this lifetime. This was different. He was that ahead. So that showed me that now I know not just that, they could see the future to a degree. They knew I was coming. This individual, he started pushing over trees and doing things where I was staying there. And I mean, it was when the mind speak came in, I've had telethought from several different type of extraterrestrials, some that have physicals and some that are not, some that are light configurations, plasmas, different contraptions, different bodies for our consciousness. Put it to you like that, different forms for our consciousness. But the telepathy I got from this elder was so quick, so fast, and so much emotion came in with it. And I picked up words, English words. I picked them up. He was a much stronger telepath than I. When he shut the channel off, I couldn't do anything about it. I was sitting on the end of that bed, up on that crazy mountain, trying to get through it. It didn't work, But he did everything to catch my attention. Then when I spoke there 3 times. The second time, it wasn't elders. Another one hit us with some type of infrasound. And I think that does something to you to where you start having more of these encounters. And before I shut up, I'll say this. The second year I was there, I have no doubt that there's one form of them that can shapeshift. Why don't you think about that, Jessica? But I had something happen. I met this very interesting individual up there that year named Tom Powell with an H. And he's very unique. And he was giving me ways that the Native Americans had communicated with them. And I started trying some of this stuff. And I had this experience with a squirrel that I know was some type of a shapeshifter. I mean, something to where I'm not a young man. So I thought that when I have these experiences that just stop my world like that, we're over. And so I went to that mountain. And you talk about that holographic principle, the quantum hologram, I had to deal with that with something I saw up there. So very unique property. I won't go too much further than that, but I know what you're saying with and when I heard about the mind speak, it was just such a forceful telepathy. Like this individual tells me, okay, it's coming in so quick. I don't have a limp. You could call me elder. I don't have a limp. And I'm seeing in my mind's eye, like about a 12-foot Sasquatch doing a backflip, like that 1980s video Jump with David Lee Roth. At the very end of that video, he does a backflip for no reason at all. It looked like that, in my mind's eye. And I found out later through like Jeff Meldrum and people like that some of the Sasquatch that have like the larger tracks, like 20 plus, some of them have this dermal ridge that's different than a tarsal break. They have some type of a limp. So this implies that they might grow until they die. I mean, no wonder. I mean, it really blew me away. As my brother said, man, you didn't really believe in Sasquatch till you went up to that ranch. As much stuff has happened to you. Well, things change,
Well, you guys, I'll tell you a little story. I was contacted by a park ranger here in Georgia about a month ago, and they were having Sasquatch sightings at their park. And he was freaking out a little bit. And long story short, I spent last weekend there, a weekend before last. A couple of my teammates and I went out there and spent the weekend just kind of investigating. They've had 8 sightings since May 1st. Okay, so we went, and it's interesting that you said that about the squirrel and the shape shifting, because that was actually one of the reports, is that and we didn't really know what to make of it, because we know the Skinwalker story, and we actually, one of the areas that we research we call it the Skinwalker Ranch of the South. One of my teammates wrote a book about it. It's called The Meadow Project. His name's Trey Hudson, and you can find his book on Amazon right now, and I will probably have some with me at Camp Disclosure in August, and I'll be selling some of those there for him. But one of the claims was that some hikers were walking through the woods, and there were 2 in the front and 2 in the back. And the 2 in the front saw a squirrel. They saw a gigantic, like 7-8 foot hairy creature jump down from the trees, and they took off running. And the people behind them saw a squirrel. So the people in the front were terrified, and the people in the back just saw a squirrel. And so it was such a huge difference. It was like a 7-foot beast or a 7-inch squirrel, like which is it, so it was a little confusing, but that's interesting that you brought that up, because that's exactly what someone experienced.
I have a question. Okay.
Mhm.
What do you think is their connection to trees? I had Tom Powell telling me that he thinks that they symbiotically turn into trees, and also that they sometimes shapeshift into tree stumps.
I've
And
never heard that.
it's so odd because when looking at their invisibility and the type of hair that they have with that the oil on it, as well as some of the translucent in there, it makes me wonder. I mean, truly, I know there's supposed to be 5 types at least, if not more, outside of the gugui in them. Where does the paranormal effect come in with this? Because they're
Okay.
not all animals. There's no way. I don't
There's
buy that at
there's an
all.
X factor. There's an X factor.
We're definitely thinking it's Agartha with the trees. I work a lot with trees and breathing and meditation, and even, having people experience the sound of trees and the frequency of trees, and like inner earth is Agartha. And in the south, there's a lot of underground accesses to Agartha, especially under the mountain ranges. And in this area, because they're crystalline piezoelectronic mountain ranges, so Adrigon and I talk about this a lot with the Sasquatches having access to inner earth and Agartha.
We definitely have an X factor to that, and from all of my experience out in the woods, we do believe, or I believe, that they are interdimensional, and there are portals in the woods, and that's where the whole point of the missing 411 books. People are wondering, like, well, how do people just go missing without a trace? It doesn't make sense. Well, we've actually encountered portals in the woods. Okay, we actually have it documented.
That's also been doused out. We're actually we're renting from one of our friends right now. We're down here with Brian and Pamela, and they're master dowsers, and they actually do work with all the crop circles around the world. They go to all of them and they capture the energy. They encapsulate it in water essences, and they work with all these interdimensional beings and all that. They're really incredible people. Anyway, they've been to the sites in Georgia and also in North Carolina and different areas where these portals were also where the original Native American stories come from the Skinwalkers, where these portals have been proven where they can actually be measured with devices, and where they've actually doused out that these Skinwalker beings hop through the portals, and that's the view they're taking, and then they hop back through the portals and they're gone. There's no trace. It's similar with the Sasquatch. Some of them use portals, but then some of them are also multi-dimensional, and where they can phase in and out of 3D, 4D, or other dimensions or stages or densities. And then also where they're highly psychic. So they have abilities that some of the enlightened masters on Earth have, where they can choose how you see them. So one person right next to them can see the full Sasquatch, the other person sees a white squirrel. I know a teacher where he's on stage, and the people on the right side of the stage, they see him right next to them, like on that side of the stage. And the people on the left side of the stage also see him right there next to them. And everyone thinks he's in front of them the whole time talking to them. But really, everyone's just seeing what they want them to see. It's a multi-dimensional quantum experience.
Yeah, dream body
That's
trick.
amazing.
Dream body trick.
I wanted to mention something about the association with the Sasquatch and the trees. And Barry, you had asked, or you had mentioned that you heard someone said that they may have been trees at once. I would buy that. I put a lot of stock in the raw material, the Law of One, and they actually say that dogs come from trees. And wherever that is in the universe where dogs come from, the dog planet, they say they actually evolved from trees. And I could see that happening with a Sasquatch. I don't know. But.
When he told me that, Buckaroo, he says they live in trees. At first, I was like, "You mean arboreal, or they're like hollowing out the trunks?" He looks at me, no, that they symbiotically can merge with the tree, and that there's a genetic thing that they have in common. And I mean, I can't say it's true or not, but when I started exploring that and some of the other things, I know the UFOs, definitely the ones I've dealt with, they've got a fungus component to them that makes them living and organic, and they use the trees on this planet like an internet system.
Yeah, it's morphogenetic living technology, or organic DNA-based living technology, and it's morphogenetic in nature.
If you go up to Brown Mountain Lights, you're going to see all kinds of anomalies, and it's in North Carolina, so there's these orbs, and people see it all the time, but there's these orbs that come out of the earth, and then they travel, and then they dissipate. And it's electromagnetic, but it's also a morphogenetic field that they cannot explain. And some people have even said that they've seen those orbs turn into trees, or they've seen beings turn into trees.
Or merge with them,
in that area.
Well, when we're in the woods, we have a lot of orb activity, and a lot of the times, so if there's like Bigfoot, it's usually ET related, but these orbs will follow us around the woods in the middle of the night while we're out there, and they glow and they're different colors. Maybe they could be explained, maybe not. It depends on what, maybe the soil content and the moisture. But like I've actually had orbs float into my tent at night and like float over me while I'm on my cot, while we're having like squatches throwing acorns at my tent all night and stuff. So like it's a mixed bag when you go out where we go. But yeah, it's really interesting. We have a lot of orb activity.
They have Marfa, Texas here. I didn't get to go see the Marfa lights, but I know that there's a place called Marfa in Texas where the orbs at night, you can stop off on the freeway and they'll light up in the desert that you can see, and they've never been able to explain it, but that was one of the places I wanted to check out when I went down there, but we never got to make it. So
when you guys go to Georgia, you should make your way up to North Carolina and visit the Brown Mountain Lights. I mean, the
I've heard
news
about
has
them.
gone out there, and they've done stories about it, and they're like, it's an anomaly. And Ancient Aliens and other shows have done, series on it. People just go and they went on, they watch this, and they say scientifically it's some kind of piezoelectronic or electromagnetic, which makes sense because these mountains are electromagnetically piezoelectronic. I mean, we've got an anomaly here in these Appalachian Mountains. But it's just something that you can see, like the shape shifting, and you can see sacred geometry in them in some cases, not just like little bits and pieces, but geometry. And so,
yes,
there's a lot of ship activity out there.
Oh
too.
yeah, a lot.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if that's near Cashiers, North Carolina, but they have the spaceships over Cashiers phenomenon. I've actually seen those. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Christy and I were talking about the sky ships over
sky ships.
That lady who has written that book, and she's just a Southern woman. She'll go, Lord, honey, I've seen all kinds of things out here. You wouldn't believe it. I've seen all these ships. They're as big as cities. And she'll talk about it. And where we're going tomorrow, Christy's been out there, is Cashiers. And it's something very interesting about what's going on in Cashiers.
I've seen them myself. I actually went and I was invited up from by one of the elders of the Cherokee up there. He and his roommate invited me to go spend the weekend up on top of a mountain right there at Cashiers. And the whole weekend we saw the sky ships. There were 4 of them, and they were there every night. And it was a very interesting experience. Yeah.
Was it Whiteside Mountain?
It was a private property, so I don't know if it was I'm not sure what the name of it was, but it was some kind of sacred land. It was really cool.
Yes, that is an interesting area. In fact, they had a whistleblower come out talking about the deep underground military base in that area and the stuff that's going on there that's not awesome. So when we talked about maybe intentionally sending some positive energy that way when we're together as a group, because we'll be in the vicinity. I have one last question for y'all. In all of your experiences with the beings and energies from the other dimensions and realms, what has been the most profound message or most meaningful thing that has come of an experience like that for each of you? Anyone can go first.
I'll go ahead just to get that out there. That orb I was mentioning when I was 12, that was extremely profound, and it's just in the sense that you can't go back to your former way of thinking, because I mean, either you go crazy or you just accept that there's this thing, and maybe there's questions that you just don't have answers to. But I kind of just knew what it was, and it felt fine. But it was definitely something that always made me keep an eye on the bigger picture, and maybe an eye in the spiritual realm a little more. So there's my answer.
I love it. Yeah, just kind of like opened a door to like knowing that there's more than just what we see here in the physical 3D. Yeah.
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 I feel as we are a divine soul spark of the creator, of the prime creator, in the oneness, all of us, that it is more expansive than just this planet in humanity, like HUE, manatee, manifestation. We're like hue, color, light, and frequency. There's such a huge expansiveness of like what the oneness is, that we're just catching like a glimpse of what oneness is in our connectivity here. But we're timeless, ageless beings, and so you just get expansive with it, and we're intergalactically connected. Our DNA is so expansive. Like, we're Palladian, and I'm actually Palladian and Lyrian, but our DNA is probably more even expansive than that. I mean, we know about that higher self realm, but it goes on and on and on, and it can go. Your imagination, your image magic nation, can go bonkers thinking about it. But I don't think we'll be able to obtain all the vast span of the information in the omniverse in one lifetime. I mean, maybe through several incarnations. Who knows? Once we reach enlightenment, we'll know. We'll know everybody.
It's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot to think about and take in when you think about everything that's out there and all of the multiverses.
Yes.
Big. What do you guys think, Jessica or Barry?
Yeah, well, as far as having profound experiences, every experience I've had has been very profound. And, I was thinking before I came on tonight, I was thinking like everyone in my family going way back, especially on my mom's side, has had ET experiences. Like I was thinking about my great grandmother when it was in the 1970s. She and my great aunt were driving down the road in Rome, Georgia, which is up in Northwest Georgia. And a light came down over their car on this back road, and they were just looking at it. They didn't know what it was. And the next thing they know, they were like 10 miles down the road at the end of the county on the other side of town. Okay. So, and they always attributed that to being angels. Because they're Southern Baptists, they attributed that to angels taking their car and placing them somewhere else out of harm's way. That's the way they explained it. Okay. So it's almost like, and everybody's got a story, but, my first experience of going out in the woods on a Bigfoot expedition was around 2011, I guess. And, at that point, I think mostly the Bigfoot group was my group that I joined at the end of the weekend. By the way, they asked me to be a member, but I went into, it was like the chasing the primate in the woods kind of thing, Well, we went out that weekend, and there's certain people that seem to attract paranormal activity and I don't know if you got like a special light that shines that everyone should, just the beacon, but we got out there, and I went on a special ops mission with one of the guys, and we had such a profound like UFO experience while we were out there waiting for the big, ape to show up and step on us in the woods. We ended up having a lot of UFO activity that weekend. And the whole shift of the group thing kind of shifted from like the monkey in the woods to, there's an X factor here. There's something, we have a lot of UFO activity that's associated with these Bigfoot. So, that shifted, and then everyone in the group got trained in remote viewing, and it's gone from there. So it's just every time we go out in the woods, everyone in my group is very switched on. And so we just, I don't know. It's almost like nothing surprises us anymore. We don't get scared, but we do get surprised. I mean, we do have like moments where we're like, dang, that was weird. Let's go to bed, guys. We got these Bigfoots yelling at us tonight. Let's just go to bed. We've seen this before. But what would make most people freak out, we're just kind of used to it, because we have it so much to happen. We're inoculated, like I said. Good to be that way, but yeah, everything is super profound in my opinion, and this is coming from a girl that's been having experiences since she was a kid. So and everyone's waking up to this now. Like, it's almost like 2020 was the year of sight. The veil was thinned. Everything got exposed, including, I mean, you name it, politics, the media, whatever. But but everyone is like open, like everyone has been opened up to like the UFO world and to ghosts or whatever you want to call it, and to just this whole world. And so that's going to make it easier for us to look like we're normal now.
Well, the
I'm kidding.
CIA kind of just came out with everything too, and I knew, and he knows because he, you can go through document after document just on the CIA.gov website, and people that I used to work at Roper Mountain Science Center in Greenville, and we'd have NASA astronauts come in, and I did basically the electronic music in the planetarium, but the conversations that were dialed in about this stuff with certain groups and everything was like, oh yeah, we've known about this for years, and when the public finds out, are they going to freak out, and it's time. So you can, if you're bored, go to the CIA.gov website and look at how much you find about astral travel, lucid dreaming, chakras, other dimensions, everything from Project Stargate to Monroe Institute, on and on and on. And it is to prepare humanity, because we've been shut down, shut off, and shut up for so long. Now people are like, no, we have to be able to have this introduction. Like, we haven't known that these other dimensional beings are out there, our star brothers and sisters, and it has been because the military, I believe, has worked with them, underground for so long that they just wanted to keep it for their own information. But through that process, they try to visit other dimensions, and because they have not done the vibrational work, the chakra alignment, and the things you have to do to raise the consciousness, they find out they're not going to see anything. It doesn't matter how much money they have until they do the quantum work, until they do the inner alchemy. And so we've been approached, actually, and asked if we know starseeds, because they realize it's kind of a running joke about, well, we didn't realize that we had to have a hippie consciousness to be able to understand this stuff, that we had to know how to like raise our consciousness and our vibration. And so the CIA, if you look at the website, like I said, I've shown people on a total 3D level. I'm like, it's right there. Just check it out, see what you feel about it. And they know they can't hide anything anymore, because they've been like approached by the Galactic Federation. You can't hide this from the people anymore.
Yeah, and they got stuck in the box that they created for themselves, and like the only ones that limit ourselves is ourselves, and they have limited themselves and stuck themselves in the box, and they've realized they can't get through it, and so they're using other methods now.
Yeah. Well, guys, there was the government also had Project Jedi, and that was their remote viewing group. And so I suggest everyone watching this, you guys check out the movie The Men Who Stare at Goats with George Clooney. It'll give you a little insight as to what remote viewing is. So yeah.
Well, Barry, I wanted to get you open this up. I'm going to ask you to close us out with your most profound message from your metaphysical experiences.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh.
If you're willing.
Well, I don't want to be the guy who pops balloons and be that guy, the negative guy. But what I've found out, what I've seen and experienced, is that there's a big problem here. Is that on this planet, we have immortal souls. All of us, immortal souls. But yet, most of us incarnate here devoid of soul life memories. That's a real problem. To the point of where I've also seen, like in my work, I've seen a lot of how many souls do not cross over at death here. Whether they're too obsessed with the sex, the money, the property. Oh gosh, property is a huge one, and all these different things that have behaviors that keep someone from crossing over. And what I can only speak from what I've experienced in my work is that the deceased earthbound population on this planet is as numerous as the living. Very serious problem here.
Yeah.
So this has every making of being a prison planet. And I think, and I'm hoping that what we're seeing, the shift in consciousness, the young people being born, and all this change that's going on is changing that. Because that is a major problem down here. I mean, the destruction of our own biosphere through type 0 civilization living as opposed to using solar power and the sun being a type 1 civilization is the first thing, is you start using the parent star as the power source. And we're right at that crossing. But I mean, you've got evil people who incarnate here like you and I see a lot of people blaming, oh, it's the reptilians. Okay, fine, maybe, but from what I'm seeing, it's the people just like me and you that are these demonic individuals that incarnate here, and they run this place. So this is a problem, and I'm hoping what this is all doing is changing that to where I don't have such a negative feel on this, and hopefully it doesn't have to remain like that. But I hear some people saying the light is winning, we're winning. Well, down here, I wait to see it a little bit more than what I'm seeing now. Please, no more talk of disclosure. Do I need to see any more UFOs over the sea? I mean, what is that? That's not doing any. That's not helping me at all. That's the same crap we've been hearing since when I first started researching that. It was in the early '80s, and it's the same stuff I'm reading now. That's an issue that needs to be brushed aside. The different types of contacts that we're talking about here, the different parameters, needs to be really open, because there was once a time. This was a type 1 civilization. Type 2. We still have the remnants of that, where you had actually light beings walking around, angelics walking around, disembodied, that were holding like groups. You don't see that anymore, but that hopefully is what we're turning back to, type 1 civilization. So during my experiences, and especially dealing extraterrestrial-wise, they seemed like they were most interested in me remembering my soul life memories, which I did, but they were still fragmented. But they seem to want that more, us remembering who we are, and then joining what would be this, you just said the Galactic Federation. I deal with somebody different, but some of these higher beings are all working together. And what does this really mean when we're dealing with beings from different galaxies, different dimensions, and different universes? That's the real Federation. See, we're not dealing with that right now. Being on a ship that can choose a wormhole that has the path of most coherency. That's beyond Star Trek. Those ships aren't doing that.
We could just do a whole nother hour and a half on that, just what you just said, Barry. My goodness.
Well, I'm a weird guy, but it's
I love it.
It's cool because I think everything is changing, and the modalities that we're all dealing with is changing, and just the awareness is opening up, and I think that's a blessing that might just change this from being the planet of lost souls. I've heard beings have put that in my mind before. The planet of lost souls. Well, I didn't like that.
No. It's true you say that, because I have friends that are mediums, and right now they're bombarded because there's so many souls right here on this planet that it's like they're trapped. So it's kind of like purgatory.
Yes,
purgatory is real, but and they've been overloaded, and it also goes into people are called to close out these portals because people are opening these portals not knowing what they're doing, and you're exactly right. Like, that's why I say we're the cleanup crew, because we're coming in to change all this and clean up and unprogram and reprogram and all sorts of things on all different multi-dimensional levels. So thank you for mentioning that, because it is important. Very important.
I was trying to sit on the bench, man. I want to be a bench warmer. I got thrown in the game.
We call in all players.
Yes, we got to talk about these things. We got to talk about all of it. That's how we progress. That's how we move forward, and that's how we come up with solutions, is by identifying the problems.
Absolutely.
So thank you for sharing all that.
Well, thank you all. I appreciate you.
Yeah,
all.
and the closing the portals are so important, just like you said. I just thought about it because we're here at this property called Crystal Creek, and I watched about 40 dowsers, 20 on one side, 20 on the other side, opened up a portal, closed the portal, and on one side of the planet is this green energy and a pillar of light. It was leaving, and then white energy was coming in. It was transmuting and transcending. See, we just don't do this stuff. I mean, biblically, I'll say this: it says greater works that you can do than these. So also, when we come together in a group coherence, if we actually just amplify the frequency of love and held space for a huge transmutation, transcendence of the planet, and worked in our divine soul spark way, we could do manifesting, generating, transmutation. And it just made me think of what you said about the disincarnate and like leaving the planet, transmuting, transcending, just holding space, letting go of the story, not in the soul shards or the past or whatever, just letting it go and letting it flow. We have the ability. I just feel it. And, you know, I feel like the more conferences and gatherings that we do like this, the more that we can raise the collective vibration. And we're doing it for our kids, whether you have kids or not. If you have, you know, nieces, nephews, whatever, you know, what's interesting, and I just want to say this on my end in closing, I've been really praying about Independence Day. It's been 7 generations from 1776. This year will be 7 generations. And so when the grandmothers say for the next 7 generations, it's 7 generations backwards, 7 generations forwards. So I'm really holding space, and I'm asking everyone to hold the vision for interdependence and forgiveness. Forgiveness, understanding, compassion, kindness, just like I said it before. Forgiveness, understanding, compassion, kindness. Fuck it. Let it go. Let's just really move forward in what we all feel in the heart and love.
And to learn not to take life so seriously. We all come here to have fun. It's kind of like a play or a divine play of consciousness. Good and evil is created, roles are played. It's a fun thing. It's the perspective we see it from. And that's one of the most important things to teach, is that life is played. Do it playfully, and to transmute playfully, and to engage playfully, and to not get so caught up in everything, in the illusion of everything. And that's one of the problems, and one of the biggest things for the situation with all the disincarnate energies and thought forms and souls, is that they get so many attachments in life, and they're not taught to take things lightly, to be playful, that life is a celebration, it's a divine play, and they get so in the experience. They're like in the New York experience, the energy, but they're not in the balloon looking at everything from below going, wow, isn't that pretty? Wow, it's a whole different experience. And so we need to really be teaching not to take everything so seriously, and just to laugh more, you know, and to love each other.
Yeah. Definitely. I love that.
Well said. You know, a problem I had as a medium is that a lot of these disincarnates, I can detect the ones that are on the outside of a person's energy field. But there are these others that are strictly attached. They're already disembodied, but they're attached and they're hiding behind negative behavior patterns. And so I wouldn't detect them until taking somebody into deep theta or something, and all of a sudden they'll come forward. You know what I mean? And that to me was somewhat of a shock. You think you kind of have a handle on things, you realize, whoa, it goes much deeper than that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, much deeper than just the ones on the outside. You've got ones that are entwined in people's energy fields. Even worse than that, you've got those that are earthbound, moving around hospitals. What do? They go to the incubator room, to the babies that don't have fully formed energy fields yet, and they merged, they join, and this person grows up with different feelings, different emotions. You hear somebody saying, you know, I'm in a man's body, but I always felt like I was a woman. That is another part of that sometimes. That's just one part of it. I mean, it's things like that that's very serious that we have to look into spiritually, psychologically, and spiritually. And I found that a lot of times these earthbound souls, not all of them, and I'm not talking about the demonic, strictly earthbound souls, people like you and me don't cross over, seem to really cross over fairly easy. Once a portal is open, that love, that prime creator light, they'll cross over fairly easy. So the more people of us that do this, the less dense this planet becomes.
Yes. Yes, I love it.
We're gonna have to
on that optimism. That we're the cleanup crew. I think that is what we're doing. So any other final words from anybody?
Yeah, actually on that, speaking of clearing and disincarnate energy, there's this very powerful clearing prayer that we'll be sharing with everyone, camp, and talking a bit about. But it comes from 32 years of a friend of ours and a group of master beings, essentially speaking with extraterrestrial beings from different galaxies, different universes, different planets, and engaging with them on building this 350-page prayer that was condensed down to 32 pages after, again, years and years of work, of doing a multi-lifetime, all incarnations, all universal, multi-dimensional clearing of self, and to release all disincarnate beings, all demonic beings. It doesn't leave anything out, and it creates and activates a constant quantum activational code that works, and that quantum holographic computer that keeps you cleaned out, keeps you clear, no matter what.
Prema Watts was a big component of that, and so, and then there's a whole entire, shortened version of it. And we did it, and the first time we tried to do it, we almost fell asleep. It was like something was fighting our energy. And then we did it the second time and noticed a huge, this shift in everything. And I think we sent you that prayer, Christy. I think we did. But yeah, yeah, it's powerful, and it's a tool that you can use if you really want to liberate this. And so that
awesome.
Part when you guys were talking about that. So.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about it, and I think that's awesome. You'll do it at camp. I was hoping you would, and I would love to see it. Anyone else with final words?
I got one.
Yes.
Hey, Jessica, you said you're a remote viewer, right? Last time I spoke at that Ascetti Ranch in 2019, I had a several hours conversation privately with John Vivinco, and he talked about when his team remote viewed crop circles. And we talked about some of these other portals. And he gave a very interesting description that on the other side, you've got literally hundreds or thousands of beings trying to squeeze through this portal all at once. So it'd be like me and you trying to put our head through a mustard jar. Nearly impossible. But when so many of them do actually squeeze through, they come through at once. And when they emerge in this dimension, in collective conscious form, in orb form. And this was based on, I asked him when he remote viewed, what did they see behind the plasma balls that actually make the crop circles? What was the basis behind them? What type of being? Yeah. And that's what he said. So I would just wonder if maybe you would do a target on it and let me know what you see.
Absolutely. I would love to. I'm always up for a challenge. Yeah.
That could be another show.
Holler at me.
Absolutely, girl.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sorry, that's weird. It's something else, but I felt like I was supposed to bring, because we talked so much about portals. Everybody did. I think it's kind of important. So
it's very
awesome. I'd love to.
About portals.
Thanks.
As a remote viewer, you'll really love one of the guided meditations we're going to be doing at camp. We're going to be leading people through a multi-dimensional experience and going to Agartha and Earth, and also the Pleiades star system. So you should be able to see a lot of fun stuff.
Very cool. Very cool. I can't wait. This is going to be so fun.
Yeah. You guys, thanks so much for being here tonight and letting our audience and our potential audience get to know you and get to know us and what we're all about. I love you guys. I just could not be happier and more honored to be connected with each of you. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, see you next week.
Blessings, love and light, you guys.
Everyone.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, everybody who joined tonight. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and follow. This will be uploaded to YouTube by tomorrow. We've got a lot of video to process tonight. Yes, happy UFO Day. You guys, we'll see you at camp and next week. Thanks.
Awesome.
You have a good evening.
Bye.
And happy 4th of
Bye,
July.
everybody.
Blessings.
Much energy. Take care.
Ground, connect, activate. It's time. Our Starseed Soul family is gathering in the sacred Blue Ridge Mountains to dance, play, meditate, create, learn, heal, and upgrade. Camp Disclosure 2021 Experience the Human Upgrade, a 4-day soul activating experience featuring leading edge speakers, inspiring art, uplifting music, delicious food, ecstatic dance, and a contagious high vibe aimed at pushing the dialogue, shifting the paradigm, and forging a path to the new earth, where the extraordinary is not only honored, but celebrated. Find us online at campdisclosure.com for event and live stream tickets.